Hi everyone, welcome back to Splash Page. I'm Andrew. This week we're talking episode 5 of season 3 of Righteous Gemstones, Interlude III. We're flashing back to 2000 and the good old days when we were all frightened of Y2K. So let's get into it. Before we even get started, I want to call out two incredible names, Sharon Bialy and Sherry Thomas. They are the casting directors for this show. And yes, that's how good I thought the casting of young Jesse and young Judy and even young Amber was. I went and looked up the casting directors for this show, which is something people don't often think about. Think about your favorite show and how good that cast was. Someone had to do that casting. Someone had to pick those actors. So good on them. Congrats. But we start off the show back in high school in 2000 with Judy being Judy and awkwardly hitting on a guy by throwing her hair in his face and him cutting her hair off. A lot of this episode flashes back and we learn about why Judy is who she is. She's got that gemstone temper that Jesse talks about. She gets embarrassed when she can't get what she wants, and then she just says, screw it, and takes it out on whoever's around, including Amber, Jesse's girlfriend, who will grow up to be Jesse's wife. She steals one of Amber's rings, eventually gives it back, but not before trying to pawn it down at the pawn shop and finding out it's worthless. Otherwise, she probably would have pawned it, because she is a problem. She does connect with Jesse towards the end of the episode, crying, tells him about how she feels, and he actually feels for her and runs into the school in full year one superhero garb and beats the crap out of the kid Trent, who cut her hair, and shaves Trent's head before running away and jumping off a wall Spider-Man style. So that's the basics of Judy's story. This story also revolves heavily around the Y2K scare, which, if you don't remember, back in 1999, everyone was afraid that when the calendar turned 2000, all of the zeros in everyone's bank accounts would go to zero, and all the money would be gone, and all the computers would die, and all the electric grids would crash. People were going crazy. I mean, my family, my father bought maybe 15 gallons of water. That's about as far as we go. I think they're still in our basement. I'm not sure. Because obviously Y2K came and went, nothing happened, and we're all still here. There were worse things on the horizon, but that was a fun scare. That was like a horror movie scare. We're all afraid. Oh, nothing happened. But a lot of people were selling Y2K preparation stuff, including Eli and Amy Lee Gemstone. And the basis of this episode is Peter, our favorite villain from the earlier half of the season, spent his entire family savings, $25,000, on Y2K buckets, just soup mix, what is a soup mix? A lot of dried foods, a VHS tape of Eli and Amy preaching, survival gear. He spent all of his kids' college money on survival gear. Now, this is the interesting thing we learn about Peter, because what we've seen of him so far, he looks like an evil guy. Maymay says he's bad, he's going to hurt the kids. He looks like a mastermind of this church. But we see him 20-some years ago running his snake charming church down in the woods. He seems happy, simple. Maymay is the one that's really hardcore. She's the one pushing him. She's the one smacking their kids around because they say they want to be wealthy like Uncle Eli. And she says, you don't want to aspire to that. And he's like, you're right, I'd rather be poor. And she slaps him for that too. She says, just strive to be a good and wise man like your father. Now, their father is the one that spent the family's money on Y2K buckets because he believed Eli. Eli, being the good guy that he is, offered to buy back all the buckets, but Maymay's not having any of that because she doesn't want to be beholden to her brother for her husband's stupidity. She's the one that's causing all the strife between the families, and she sees this as Amy Lee turning Eli more evangelical instead of more hardcore Christian like herself and what she's making Peter into. We watch Peter give a sermon that he changed at the last minute. He was supposed to talk about outreach. He ended up talking about wealth and how the Lord doesn't care about wealth, but we do. Why do we care about wealth? Well, he's figured it out. It's because of the people that we love. And it's hard to see someone else doing so well and getting all the opportunities because they have all the money when he's watching his own family struggle because he has none of the money. Now, he really has none of the money because, like I said, he spent it all on buckets of survival food, which is, I guess, why they became survival preppers later on. But he can't get the money that way because Maymay won't let him. So instead, he decides to rob a bank. The bank robbing does not go well. He gets shot in the face, right in the mouth, which is where he gets his scar. And he ends up putting a hole in the security guard's head, which gets him sent off to jail, I'm assuming. How could it not? And we know that he got out of prison. Now, do we know if he's been in prison since this incident or if he's been in and out? I forget if Maymay said he was out again or if he got out at the beginning of the season, but either way, prison has made him hard, and Maymay's always been hard, and since all of this hinged on Eli tricking him into buying the buckets, now he's not happy with Eli. Now I'm 100% sure that the plan from the last episode to get all of the explosive fertilizer, this was fully Maymay's idea, and she gave that plan to Peter. It has to be what it was. What are they going to do with that fertilizer? Probably blow up a government building, kind of like the Oklahoma City bombing, which was a result of Timothy McVeigh feeling that the people at Waco, the compound down there, the religious compound down there, were not treated well by the feds. So this would have a lot of similarities. The feds broke into their compound, they weren't treated well, they're going to steal a bunch of explosive fertilizer, blow up a government building. That's what I think is going to happen, and that's, I think, Maymay's plan, given to Peter. This whole thing masterminded. Also, we got to see the kids playing with the monster truck, which I guess was fun. They were kids once. I guess that's what that was all about. That mostly showed Judy's kind of backstory. And we got to see Eli try to save his church when everyone's picketing. And they're all saying, you scammed us. And he's saying, listen, I was wrong. But if I was wrong and you bought buckets anyway, it's because you wanted God and I gave him to you. And they're like, go screw. And Amy Lee comes out and gives another heartfelt speech that kind of turns everyone around, which sounds heartfelt and truthful, but also she's saving her own ass, saving her own church to keep it how they are. I did love the scene with Eli and Amy Lee where they're in the church in the pews on the stage, where they both admit that no, they did not think it was going to happen, Y2K, but Amy Lee kind of romanticized the idea of going back to a simpler time, without all the wealth, without all the stuff they have that they've built, but at the same time, she's going to give a speech to save the church, get everyone back inside and keep all that wealth. And we still don't know who hit Maymay with the car to save Amy Lee's life. Maybe we'll find that out at some point, maybe not. Anyway, that was Interlude 3 from Season 3 of Righteous Gemstones. Let's do something fun. If you have a show that you love that is perfectly cast, pick the show or the movie that you think is perfectly cast, go look up the casting directors and comment their names in the comments down here, because I'd like to know who's the best of the best. Who deserves the credit? Because the actors, the writers, the directors, everyone gets all the credit, the casting directors. Without them, you don't get a movie with the right people in the right roles. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew. This has been Splash Page. We'll see y'all next week. Later.